Okay, so for loops 1a, the function loops 1a, it's asking us to make 10 stars. Using a for loop, return a list of 10 items, each one a string with exactly 1 star in it. So it's a list of strings, each one containing a star. So it's not 10 stars in a string or a list of 10 stars, it's a list of strings, each one is a star. So the example kind of gives the game away. So I wanted to use an interactive terminal for a bit to just play with how we're going to achieve that. So we can go to this terminal and let's Control L to clear it. I'm going to say IPython, and this takes a little while to load up, but we get the nice coloring. Now, if you for some reason don't have IPython, you can just type Python, you just won't get the coloring. Okay, so we can say print. Now, we don't have import future here, so let's just say import hello, and it prints hello. Okay, so we know it's working, everything's cool. So if we have a look at the request again here, it is using a for loop, return a list of 10 items, each one a string with exactly 1 star in it. So let's try a for loop. So, boop, there we go, back in here, for, now this is the my least favorite way of doing this. I in range 10, print I. Now, we can kind of see what's going on here. Let's work this out. So for I in range 10, now let's see what range 10 is actually giving us in a second. But every time we go through this thing, print I. So range is a function in Python that gives us some list. It returns a list. So it's returning, in our case, a list of numbers between 0 and 9. So there's 10 numbers because the first number is 0. Remember, we've got this 0 indexed list thing. So what for I in is doing is for each number in that list, do this loop and then print it. So what we can kind of do here is say, instead of printing I, we could print, so we say for I in range 10, print, and then we want to print a star to get all our stars. Oops. And so now we're printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stars. Okay, so we've got all our stars, but this gives us a print of 10 stars, not return of 10 stars. But if we return 10 stars, we're going to have a bit of a problem. Now, one way that we could do this that doesn't use a for loop, so it won't pass the test, but it would be a kind of elegant way of doing it, is saying star times 10, and that will give us a string of 10 things. Or we could say a list that's a star times 10 actually gives us what we want. So this is a nice little hack if you want to fill up a list of a particular thing really quickly. So just if you ever see this kind of thing, something times 10, it's not multiplying a list of stars times 10, because that doesn't make any sense. It's actually doing it 10 times. It's a pretty useful little thing to do. So let's jump back into the normal window and we'll figure out how we're going to do this. So we need somewhere to collect up those stars. So let's make an empty list and call it star list. Use that, do that in snake case. So star list equals an empty list. So square brackets do lists and they're empty. So we now have star list and it's empty. So let's say for I in range 10. So we're going to do something 10 times. Star star list, we use our auto correction here, dot append. Now appending something to a list pushes it onto the end. So we're going to use append a lot, especially in like architectural computing stuff where we're like doing something, putting it on a list. So we want to append a star to the star list. And now our function will do that. Now when we press enter after here, we're still indented. Okay, so we want to, that will happen every time we do the list. But we want to go, for when the list is finished, return star list. Okay, let's run the little thingy. And then loops 1a, which is the one we're doing, returns 10 stars in a row. Now, this is might seem a bit confusing because it's returning, it looks like it's returning 10 stars, but that's just because there's a helper function that prints things kind of nicely so that some of the later ones are easier to read. So let's just check what's happening first. Return is the last thing that happens in a function always. So if we want to check it, we have to go ahead of that. So so now we've got, let's print star list and run it again. And so right up at the top here, we can see we're returning this list. Now let's check we're getting exactly 10 items. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so that's good. So we can get rid of that print. Doesn't matter if you do or not, but just to make things cleaner. So we've got our star list, which is a collection that we're adding the stars to. And then for I in range 10, which basically means do this 10 times, we are appending this string that is a star. And then we return star list, and we return that to the calling, whoever calls it, calling context is what we call it. So when the tests run, they will get 10 stars back. So we can run our tests. In fact, let's do that right now, just to check. So we go back into our function here. Now we can run exit, and now we're back in here. So Python week 2 tests. Ding, ding, ding. So we know, we can see that our fixit is doing the job, because that's fine. We committed that before. Exercise 3 loops 1a, 1d for loop, which was one-dimensional for loop, and that's green. It passes. So that is 1a that works. Everything's good. So we would commit that, and we're happy.